Silly me. All right, cool. So hey everyone, here's your friendly ship slash Microsoft warning that we are being recorded, and this is going to be published on YouTube later on.
Mhm.
Um, and we'll go ahead and get started. We don't have any slides for you guys today. We are going to be doing live walkthrough of convention, and we'll start with some intros. So Cindy, if you want, you can go ahead and start, and then I'll go.
Yeah. So, hello everyone. My name is Cindy Sanchez. I am the Regional Vice President for Region 5. So that's Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee. I'm based out of Houston. I work for SLB as a digital implementation lead, and I've been with SHEP since 2011 as a freshman in college. Really excited to be here to share some wisdom here with Will today. So yeah, that's me. Oh, and I went to University of Houston, right? I mean, there we go, supported me again. Will?
Go H-Town. Hey everyone, so my name is William Gonzalez. I am RVP 7 in Region 7, covering Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas. I have been with SHIP since freshman year 2012. Did 4 internships while in college, have attended every conference since I was a freshman in college, and today I work for Microsoft as a partner technology strategist, really focused in sales and consulting. But here to really talk about SHIP and get any questions answered for you guys around the convention. And maybe I have some wisdom too, like Cindy. So I'm going to start screen sharing and see if you guys can see my screen. Please don't judge me by my 47 tabs.
I
All
literally
right.
am hiding all of mine too.
They're there. I have them all up. I guess we can just close them. Let's hope this isn't important work. But I'm not going to worry about that. All right. So as we told you, as we mentioned, if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We'll be reading the chat as we present. This is going to be very much Cindy and I talking through what we got for the convention and the agenda, tips and tricks. But put your questions in the chat. We want this to be interactive. So we did this last year and got some good feedback on it. And if you haven't ever been involved with SHIP or this is your first conference convention, I'm going to do a quick high-level overview of the convention. We're going to be in Anaheim, as I'm sure, I hope you already know that, October 30th to the 3rd. Starts on Wednesday, and I'm going to confirm because I've had students give me different dates. Wednesday, there are officially workshops happening. The conference is ongoing on Wednesday. I've had students mention that they're going to arrive on Thursday. I do not recommend that, but that is up to you. And then on Thursday, we'll have more workshops and events. We'll have competitions. Friday and Saturday will be the career fair that everyone is looking forward to. Traditionally, we see 200 to 250 sponsors or corporate exhibitors. And then we have government entities and also universities there for graduate students and to answer any questions around grad school. At that high level, we have workshops. We have activities called hospitality suites. In the past, there's been corporate tours. I don't know if I mentioned the competitions already. We have different tracks for different focuses. Some of the ones that I can think of right now is the community college track, the professional track, different industry tracks. Cindy, I don't know if I'm missing any of those tracks. I know I am. The Septina track.
I mean, they're all listed on the tracks page that we can review as well.
Perfect. So we'll get there. Anything else at a high level? I mean, let's see. Since I was I'm just going to mention this really quick. Since I was a freshman in the
The grad
conference.
track. True. Can't forget about our grad students.
I'm sorry, I forgot. Since I was a freshman, so for those of you who are new to the conference, this conference used to have 6,000 or so attendees. This year, it's very likely we're going to hit 15,000 attendees. If you haven't gotten your ticket, I recommend it. I know the last update we had is that there was over 9,000 folks already registered. And we did confirm that when we hit 15,000, that is it, sold out. There is no more tickets. So if you don't have your ticket here or yet, and you're here to learn, I'd recommend you do get that ticket. I suspect in the next 2 weeks will be completely sold out. High level, that's kind of the conference. Does anyone have any questions in the chat? I'm not seeing anything. If not, I'll jump straight into the agenda. Cindy, is there anything you want to add?
Not yet.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna jump straight into the agenda, and we can hit some more specific topics while we go through it. But I'm gonna focus in, and if you go to this link here, I'm gonna share it in the chat really quick. You'll be able to go through the agenda, make your own schedule, identify what's going to be important to you. And I personally like to filter by day, and I am very old school of I'm going to be writing down my agenda, where I need to be, who I want to talk to, and my plan A, my plan B. But as we can see, on Wednesday, you're going to have signups for competition starting. You're going to have the Mercado open. We're going to have Chevron print room open. This is somewhere you could go and print your resumes. As we go through this, I'm also going to add some thoughts. I'd recommend coming already with 40, 50 resumes to the convention. I wouldn't wait till you get there to print the resumes. And I think in the past, there's been a limit of you get to print 5 or 10 resumes. If you don't have resumes and you get there, you're going to be looking for a FedEx or a business center at a hotel, and they're going to charge you to print those resumes. Well, Cindy, anything you want to add?
No, I was just
Keep going.
putting on the chat. There were some questions on when the app will be live, just because not everybody wants to be old like us. So you can definitely download the app. It's the Cvent app. Everybody will get an email. If you're already registered for a convention, you will get an email notifying you that the Cvent app is already available on October 9th. And you'll be able to make your own schedule there. So you can go in, filter by day, by I believe by track, and check out what's interesting to you, and then add that to your personal schedule. So that way, whenever you are there at convention, you're not kind of like looking through all the events. You're just looking at your individualized or specialized schedule. So you're not wasting time.
Perfect. As we're going through this agenda, something I'm gonna highlight here. Convention readiness event. It looks like it's sponsored by Amazon this year. And something I'm going to mention is that if this is your first convention, your first conference, or you want to get a refresher, this is going to be a great event where you get the perspective from the corporate side of the company on how they see convention, what they recommend on how you guys should get ready or show up. In the past, they've had a student leader also engage to provide tips and tricks from the student side. So you get the corporate side and you get the student side. I haven't helped on this event in a few years, but I would say definitely go, especially that day one, especially if you need just a refresher, a touch up on convention. And then I know this year they're adding this for the first time, community gatherings. They're going to have different topics. If you're interested in one of these, great opportunity to go network. I'm going to go ahead and add this. I wouldn't necessarily immediately consider this a recruiting opportunity if I'm reading these topics. So when you do go to these community gatherings, if you go, be respectful that if the companies aren't looking at resumes, go in there and just truly try to network, understand what they're trying to get across. In most cases, I'm going to guess it's likely that they are going to be open to looking at resumes, but this is supposed to be more ERG focused and topic focused. So I'm going to leave that there. Cindy, I don't know if you want to add anything there. If not, I'll keep scrolling.
No, you can keep scrolling.
All right.
Yeah.
This one's another one that I want to highlight. So much good stuff happens on Wednesday. So Chevron sponsoring a resume ramp up. Think resume critiques, and a lot of the volunteers will be Chevron employees. If they get overwhelmed, they usually open it up to other companies to come and review / provide feedback on resumes. The cool thing about this is that if Chevron or one of the other companies there are of your interest, not only will they be looking at your resume and providing you the critique, if they're interested, they might offer you to talk about internships, full-time, et cetera, et cetera. So it might be a good opportunity to get in front of a Chevron recruiter. My 2 cents, that's how I would use that as an opportunity to network and then also get my my resume looked at. Academic Olympiad, starting already on Wednesday. This is one of the competitions, and I believe it's either teams of 3 or teams of 4. And this is going to be a competition that will have cash prizes at the end, and it'll be a 2-part competition. There is going to be a link to register in advance. This is not one of the competitions that you register on site for. I believe the security design competition is the only one that is on site this year. I hear a bunch of background noise, so I'm gonna mute.
It might be good. I did also want to mention the Academic Olympiad is undergraduates only. I did see that note. somewhere in one of the emails. So just make sure that you do qualify for whatever competition you're interested in competing in.
Nice. And I do know this event has a sponsor now. I'm gonna see if I can see if we have it up here yet. Maybe they haven't updated this one. This is another good event that I'd recommend attending. Student and professional networking and mentoring session. The reason it's a good event is one, that I made it a long time ago, but two, companies come in, you get a panel, and you guys kind of get to ask questions as attendees. And traditionally, they have either resume critiquing or just networking after the panel. So I always like this event. I've seen 100, 200 people go in there, and I've seen companies bring 20 to 30 representatives to speak to the attendees. And then now we're going to get into just traditional workshops as they're going on. And this is where your agenda and schedule makes sense. So as you can see, we have 2:30, 2:30, 2:30, 2:30, 2:30, tons of 2:30s. You need to make up your schedule for yourself. What's important to you? What are you trying to get out of the conference? One of the questions I get a lot from students is, hey, how do I make the most out of the conference? Or what's the biggest mistake I could make at the conference? And the biggest mistake you could make is showing up to the conference with your chapter or if your friends and doing what everyone else wants to do and kind of going in a group. I would tell you, focus on you, create your own agenda, and go execute on that versus staying in the safety of your group. You're going to meet other people. There's going to be a ton of shit people at the conference. I wouldn't worry about that. I would focus on, where am I going to learn the most? Who do I want to network with? What opportunities are open for me here? Cindy, I don't know if you want to add anything there.
No, but you are about to get to the chapter leader reception. So this is for all of our chapter leaders. If you're, I believe it's open to president and vice president. I'm not sure if it's open to any more past that, but we are yet to confirm that. But if you are able to make that session, I highly recommend it. Just in case you haven't met like your regional leadership, whether it's myself, Will, the rest of our teams, or even if you're part of a different region, you haven't met who your regional leaders are, that's definitely a good session to go to, as well as meet other chapter leaders in your area. So if you didn't get the opportunity to go to President Summit, or you're one of the new chapters, so you don't really know who's around in your area, you can definitely go to the chapter leader reception and get that information and meet new people.
We will definitely be there. So
yep,
come join us. Come shake our hands. Come talk to us, and we're happy to chat. This one's one that I like. I get a lot of questions on, hey, I'm DACA or undocumented, and I see that for the last few years we've had organizations talking about this, whether it be we're bringing in lawyers or companies to talk about it. Something I like here is that Eli Lilly is talking about this. So to me, it's like, oh, does that mean that they're interested / open to DACA recipients? If I fall into that category, I want to go learn about what Eli Lilly's opinion and views are as a company. Because a lot of times, I'm going to be honest, it's hard for me to provide feedback or insight. And I usually connect students to other folks who have gone through that so that they can provide them real guidance. And then we can keep going through this and going into the weeds of it. But high level, guys, look at the agenda in advance. Look at what you want to do, make your own agenda, and execute on that. I'm going to open up Thursday after this, after we go and talk through the hospitality suites. We'll go into Friday, Saturday, and then we'll just go into the details of the convention. For those of you who aren't familiar with hospitality suites or have never been to a hospitality suite, I like to describe it as, think of a classroom that's empty, and you have 20 or 30 company representatives there. There might be cocktail tables there might be food, there might not be. The companies prep them themselves, but these companies are investing an additional amount of money to organize this event for you guys. And the idea is, hey, come network with us. Maybe we're going to be looking at resumes. Maybe we're not going to be doing resumes in our hospitality suite, but come get to know the company. In the past, I've seen a lot of interviews have been scheduled at the hospitality suites. Companies start interviews on Wednesday. So being that there's hospitality suites on Wednesday, I would definitely want to be there. Something I'm going to mention is that the hospitality suites, it looks like there's 2 hours long. This is very normal. Every year we have them. Last year, there was really long lines for the hospitality suites. I know Ship National has been trying to work on ways of getting these lines to be, I'm going to say, more efficient. My recommendation is always going to be there early if you're interested in one of the companies hosting a hospitality suite. Um, and hospitality suites will have, each company might have their own rules. For example, I work for Microsoft full time. Last year, we were trying to get folks in and out in under 10 minutes. Reason being, we had a really long line and folks might want to stay and talk to us for an hour. But being respectful of the other folks in line, we were trying to get the process moving. Every company is going to manage that a little differently. Cindy, I don't know if you want to add anything to the hospitality suites. I don't see any
Yes.
questions. Okay.
I do want to add that for hospitality suites, you will notice that you have some going on Wednesday and some on Thursday. But not always do all companies do both days. So
Mhm.
definitely take a look at that. Make sure you're prioritizing, your A list over your B list and your C list. If, let's say I want to join Apple, but they're only there on Wednesday, and I also want to talk to, I don't know, SLB, but they're going to be there both Wednesday and Thursday, then I'll make sure to hit up Apple on Wednesday, and then I can do SLB either later that day, that same day, if I get the chance to, or if not, then I'll just go. I know that I can go the next day. But just keep that in mind. And then, like Will mentioned, sometimes they'll be looking for resumes because as companies, when you have your interview booths, you are trying to fill up all of your interview slots. So Wednesday and Thursday is a really good time for them to try and meet as many people as possible and invite you out for an interview, an on-site interview, if they still have openings. If you're waiting until career fair, you could be too late. Most of the time you are. So just want to point that out there. I know I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but you definitely need to include hospitality suites in your strategy.
And being that we're mentioning interviews a little bit, I want to highlight, and we'll probably get to it later, but I don't want to forget, uploading your resume to the SHIP database for the conference, very critical and key. Cindy just mentioned that companies have interviews scheduled already and they have the booths open. So companies that have interview slots open for Wednesday, they're going to be looking at the resume database to contact folks in advance to schedule interviews. I've seen folks get 4, 5, 6 interviews before they even arrive to the convention because they uploaded their resume to the database in advance. And as we're going through this, Thursday, I'm going to just go through really quick and call out anything specific. So we have competitions going on. We got workshops going on, and it's very similar to Wednesday of you need to select what's important for you, spend time, come back to this later. There will be, and there's a breakfast here that I'm going to highlight. So some companies will be sponsoring breakfast events. Some of these events are ticketed. Some of them are first come, first serve in a line. I believe on the master agenda, it'll say it's a ticketed event or not. I had seen one the other day. I don't know if you've seen that, Cindy. Please note that
No.
registering. Okay. Either way, I would check. And I know last year there was at registration, I believe there was a table where you could go and get a ticket for these. I would check at registration if I was you guys. And if you're interested in that company and they're hosting a breakfast or a lunch, there's usually a standby line or a wait line where for the first 5 or 10 minutes, if it is ticketed, they'll allow ticketed folks to come in. And then after that, they'll open the doors for everyone else until the seats are full. Sometimes it is, hey, seats are full, no more folks. And that also goes for the workshops. If a room only holds 200 people, the fire marshal will not allow us to have more than 200 people in there. So if ship staff or a company representative tells you that you can't come in, it is likely for that reason that the room is at capacity. Oh, we got NASCAR coming. That's cool. All right. Workshops. Cindy, let me know if you want to call anything out. If not, I'm going to keep scrolling. And
I was just answering some questions on the chat around if there's a cap for how many people are let into the hospitality suites, or do people just cycle through? So I answered it. People definitely do cycle through, so you're not there the entire 2 hours. You can drop in, and if you're lucky enough to talk to a representative, for 5 minutes in your first 10 minutes, and then you're kind of in and out next, onto the next one. How early do you need to get onto the hospitality suites? So I know last year people were lining up like 2 hours before, or maybe a little bit more.
I think it was even more than that. I think people were in line 3 and 4 hours before. I think it's so hard for me and Cindy to give you that recommendation. We're not getting into the line ourselves as we're supporting our company activities, or we're supporting regional activities. I don't know if any students want to mention how much time they were in line for last year, how early they were there.
Andrea, I'd like to hear a little bit from you. You did mention that last year the line started 1 to 2 hours before, but they did end up kicking people out. That's news to me. I guess I want to hear a little bit more about from you real quick on that, if possible.
You might be in class.
Well,
Okay.
I was also there for that as
Hold
well,
on,
so I could speak to that.
sorry, I was finding my unmute. Wait, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello?
Andrea, you're good.
Here. Oh,
Bad connection.
It's okay.
is it better now? Hello?
Yes. The lag. The lag. But she
Kevin,
did recommend walk around the area around 2 or 1 hour before to see how the vibe is, especially on day one. So, yeah. Wait, but Kevin, you were there too? Was that you, Kevin?
Yes, that was me. Yes.
Mhm.
So I could speak on that for the time being. So from my understanding of how the things went, because of the way the chokehold sort of occurred, it being on top of the floor, like on top of like not the first floor, but on the second floor, because it was like on a bridge, because there was so crowded and so many people there. Most of like the security of the actual venue for Utah were ordered to take everyone out because of like the amount of people that were there that was over capacity. So it was until after that happened that the lines had to be reformed and everything. So everyone was kicked out of the line and had to be reformed once it was closer to the actual time of the suites and everything.
I'm going to go ahead and add of if something like that happens, please stay calm, stay professional, don't freak out. It's something out of our control. Yes, like that's
So
the best
let us
advice I could
know.
give.
I do also want to say, let us know. I know Region 5 will have a WhatsApp specifically for everyone going into convention. I'm pretty sure Region 7, you guys always do something similar, if not of the same magnitude. Please let your regional leaders know because, I mean, we can always elevate it, escalate any kind of issues you're having. We can try to, sort things out. Yeah. So please let us know. We're not always everywhere. So
Yep, absolutely. I'm gonna keep scrolling. So tons of workshops, and I think we finish up Thursday again with hospitality suites. So I just want to see if that's correct. Oops, still loading. Oh, so many things going on.
yeah.
More hospitality suites on Thursday. So you get a second chance for hospitality suites. Something Cindy mentioned that I'm going to highlight again. Check which companies are going to be at the hospitality suites on which days, and prioritize the ones that are important to you. If not, Cindy, I think I'm going to go to Friday, and I know we get to the.
Did you talk about the print room?
It is open again. It's the first thing on the schedule. I think they have it that says 6 a.m. or 7 a.m.
Okay. But
so print room
the recommendation for it.
Can you provide me some I've never used the print room, so I have no recommendations.
So, okay. So I bring that up because I know a lot of people go in with the expectation that there's going to be one printer waiting for you to print your, 50 copies, and that is not always the case. So Taimi just posted there are always long lines to print your resume, especially if you're waiting until I think Wednesday there's a resume critique. If you're waiting until then to finalize your resume and then print it during the print room sessions, you could be able to, but there also could be issues where like the printer is not working, the Wi-Fi is not working, you don't have your flash drive, or you lost it, or it's not printing correctly, so you have to go back and forth, and there's that times 15,000 other attendees, right? So just there are some people putting suggestions on the chat. Take your resume on a flash drive, email it to yourself, take 50 initial copies. So at the very least, if you make edits and you're not able to print out your new one, at least you have your old one. So yeah, just think of plan A, B, and C when it comes to your resume, because that is key.
Totally agree. then Andrea had mentioned one more thing about being respectful to ship staff. If I am on line duty, I will tell you that I will pull your badge if you are misbehaving.
Yes, I will also actually tell a quick story. I was volunteering in the hospitality suite line on, I believe, Thursday, the second day. And there was a SHEP attendee, it was a student that said something very rude to me when I'm just trying to tell her that that was not the end of the line. The end of the line was elsewhere. Um, Apparently, I heard along the grapevine that there was a company rep that was in the vicinity that heard and saw the entire interaction, and that student actually went to her booth at career fair to try and talk to them, and she did not give her the time of day because she was rude to me. So just remember that you're always being watched. Like whatever you say is always being listened, so act accordingly, especially if you're still in the market to, land your next job, co-op, internship, whatever. And even then, like just be nice. We're all trying to do our best. So
To Cindy's point on I'm gonna call it good behavior. I tell everyone your behavior should be good / well as soon as you get to the airport. Like in your home city, there might be company representatives or recruiters that are traveling to the conference at the same time, same day. So that is just my 2 cents on that. So I completely agree with everything Cindy's mentioning, and I've heard many stories just like that. But bringing us to Friday. Friday at 8:20, we will have the ribbon cutting ceremony by ExxonMobil, which is the opening of the career fair. We don't know what the lines are going to look like yet. We don't know what it's going to be situated. Career fair line is always long. You guys make your judgment calls on how early you want to get there. And you'll have the career fair on Friday open from 8:30 to 12. I know SHIP was going to be working on managing the line. We have not gotten updates yet on what that's going to look like yet. If we do have them, we will share them through regional chats beforehand, so you guys are aware. And so 8:30 to 12, and then we have some lunches sponsored. Boom, boom, lunches, and then I believe there's workshops. Yep, workshops in the afternoon. So we'll have workshops also on Friday for those of you interested. And I want to emphasize that you don't only land interviews at the career fair. These workshops are a great opportunity to land interviews, network with company representatives. And if you do it, I'm going to say correctly, respectfully, you might even bump into company reps in the hallway and they'll be willing to look at your resume and talk to you. So it's not only the career fair. I know some of you might be saying, what? That's only 3.5 hours. Why don't we have it longer? So lots of opportunities, lots of workshops going on, and workshops. I'm gonna just zoom by to Saturday, hopefully, so then we can we have regional meetings at 5 p.m. on Friday for anyone who's interested, and then we will zoom by to Saturday. There is a Friday night attendee social, so you guys are all invited. This usually happens in the hotel. There you go. Sponsored by a company. Usually just an event to de-stress, but there will be company representatives there as well. So might be another good opportunity to meet someone. I'm going to zoom by and then we'll go to open kind of questions.
I do want to mention one thing. I think we kind of breezed through it, but then on Thursday, there's the national meeting. Very important. We're actually going to be doing some voting this time around on national bylaws. So it is important, it is imperative that we have chapter representation at the national meeting this year. Super important. Just wanted to throw that in there.
Thursday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. See you guys there. If the voting has anything to do with giving Region 7 more funding, please vote yes. And now to Saturday. A lot of the same stuff that you saw the days before. The only thing I'm going to mention is that the career fair is much longer today. It's from 8:30 to 2:30, and then we close up with the SHIP closing fiesta. And at a high level, that's the agenda. I'm going to highlight some quick events up here or information up here. I'm going to mute Catherine really quick. Oh boy, mute. Agenda. So if you want to come in here and you want to learn more about the conference or anything that we're doing, FAQs, there is area for that. Different tracks. I know we had mentioned this before. Here are the breakdown of all different tracks. And if you click them, it'll tell you which workshops are in those tracks. Let's see. Competitions. I believe the 3-minute grad thesis competition is already closed for new applications, and so is the STEM research as competition as of yesterday. Cybersecurity challenge, I believe, is sign up on site. Is that correct, Andrea?
What? No, the
Cyber-
cybersecurity and both. No, the academic Olympiad and cybersecurity both are open for registration now. I can get the links and send them over right now. But yes, those two are still open. I want to say that cybersecurity will also have a booth in person because they did tell us that, but they also did send us a link to register preemptively. So yeah.
There you go. So if you are interested in registering for the academic Olympiad, cybersecurity, those are the competitions that are still open. Here, I mentioned before, upload your resume. This is where you find the link to upload your resume to the database. If you want to volunteer, I believe they're going to open these opportunities early October.
If they're already open.
Oh, they're already open. Perfect. So if you
Yep.
want to volunteer,
I think they may be run out.
Oh,
They may be sold out just to as a yeah.
we have
Last
so
time I
many
checked,
good
I think
members.
all of them were taken.
We have so many good members that we have no more volunteer opportunities available. Thank you for your support. If you guys want to meet the sponsors, look at the exhibitors, great opportunity here. I'm going to click on the floor plan, but after I'm going to do the, oh, that's not what I meant to do. Where are we going? We're going sponsors, floor plan. So something that I like to mention to folks because we're here is you could go here and see where all the companies are going to be. So as you plan your attack on the career fair, this is going to be a good way to know, I want to go here. I want to get to Eli Lilly and their booth 727. So as soon as they open those doors, I'm going straight there. I don't know if they have the interview booths not ready yet. In the past, they've had interview booth breakout, and they might not have it this year. My whole point on this is going to be if a company has more interview booths than one, they've made an investment to get additional interview booths. You'll see some companies have like 20, some companies have 5, some companies have 50. If they have 50 interview booths, it is very likely that they're looking for interns, they're looking for full-time, they're looking for a lot of folks. So something to consider as you make your plan on targeting companies. So Cindy, I'm going to say, do you have any last thoughts or words of wisdom? And then we can open up to questions via hand raising.
Just want to mention if you're still, I mean, I don't know if it's already past that point, but you can always look up under attendees if you need a letter for your professor or your dean. You know, somebody's requesting some sort of letter to excuse your absence. It is available on the website as well. William is showing it on the screen right now. And that also goes for professionals. If you need to, a letter that excuses your absence from work, you can definitely submit that as well. I think that was it from on my end. Oh, and check out the FAQs page. A lot of the time, some simple questions, the answers are located in the FAQ page. That FAQ page is loaded with different kinds of questions. So I invite y'all to check that out. And leaders, you can definitely remind your membership that they should be looking at the FAQ page before they go on a question spree, because I know we're all trying to prep for convention. So that'll just be a lot easier on everyone if they go there first.
All right. So I think we covered a lot of the conference at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have any questions? Please raise your hand or put it in the chat. All right, Luis Gonzalez, I see you have your hand raised if you want to come off mute.
Yo. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
So I know that the event opens at 8:30. In you guys' experience, how early do we have to be there at the front of the line?
I'm assuming you're referencing the career fair when you say 8:30?
Friday.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you, this might sound like a horror story, and I feel like us giving you this information is what causes it to happen year after year. I've seen folks get in line at 2 and 3 in the morning and be ready. And there's been times where they kick everybody out of the building and no one can be there. If the building opens at 6, there will be people waiting to get into the building at 6. Do with that what you will. There's not going to be any cutting allowed. If you're not there first, don't freak out. It's plenty of time to go talk to other companies, but I'm going to emphasize again, the workshops. There's so many opportunities before the career fair to speak to companies, to speak to recruiters in the hallway. If you're nice and professional about it, they will likely be willing to talk to you if they're not on a rush to a workshop or to some other activity. At the end of the day, these companies, for the most part, are there to talk to you guys and to recruit. Cindy, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
No, you covered it.
Perfect. Cool.
I think when I was a student, I think the earliest I ever went was an hour before, and I still got in pretty early, like in the first or second wave. So just kind of throwing that out there. There is a question or a comment Andrea made. So there's a couple of questions on how to talk to recruiters. Can we give pointers or structure to a great elevator pitch? Will, you're great with pitches. Let's go.
I feel like I'm going to put my secrets out. Andrea has heard me say this 27 times already, and she's like, I love that. So you guys will hear me say this if you ever ask, what does a good elevator pitch sound like? And I like to keep it pretty simple, but it's, hey, my name is William Gonzalez. Nice to meet you. I'm putting my hand out, shaking, and hopefully they're shaking back. I'm going to mute whoever is in the background. Okay, there we go. Thank you. So hi, William Gonzalez. Nice to meet you. I'm studying industrial engineering at the University of South Florida. The reason I'm here to talk to you guys today is that I saw that you had this position open. I think I aligned well with that position because of these, accolades or skills on my resume. Do you have a moment to review my resume and then mention that I've already applied online? I've made it really easy for the recruiter in the sense of I've already identified the role that I'm interested in. I've already highlighted the skills that align to that role, and I've already applied online. So for the recruiter, this is very simple. The worst thing you could do is say, what do you do? Or what internships do you have to offer me? Or walking up to a company and not knowing anything about them. I'm going to mention research. If you come up to Microsoft, please know what we do beyond Microsoft Office and Excel and Word, et cetera, et cetera. Someone had mentioned this weekend of go look at the news, open the news and learn what these companies are doing. The internet is right at your fingertips. So tons of places to learn information on the companies. Cindy, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
I want to highlight what Naomi said. So she just put on the chat, just for everyone who's on the watching the recording afterwards. Elevator pitch formula: 1, name, major, school, and classification. 2, leadership and or technical experience, 2 to 3 lines. 3, I have applied for XYZ role. Insert here personal question. So I like it when I always end my pitch with a question. So that way they, the recruiter, whoever I'm talking to, like that is their way in, and you're making it easy for them. So just the last thing I want to add. What are the best resources to find the roles companies are looking for? So
really quick, before we jump
ahead.
into that, on the elevator pitch, I'm going to finish this on letting the recruiter come in. Don't show up with the resume ready to shove it into their hand and talk, and don't give them a time to speak. Make sure that you're kind of doing those strategic pauses so that if they're going to jump in or if you're reading their body language and they want to say something, give them that opening to come in and speak. That's the last thing I'm going to say. Go ahead on this question over here.
So I believe Andrea mentioned towards the beginning of the chat that there is a school in Florida that usually creates a very comprehensive list of companies and who they're looking for in terms of major and classifications, maybe. But that's not going to be ready until mid-October. I don't know, Will, if you have more info on that.
Yeah, so the University of Florida traditionally puts out a corporate database that they spend probably most of the summer and part of the fall to build. So thank you, go Gators. And they share it with the SHIP community. It is a 200 plus page document that has a 1-page PDF for each company. And from what they've gathered on the internet, from looking at the careers pages and what the companies traditionally hire, they put this out there. I would say it is a very good document to start your research on, but you'd be waiting till mid-October. They are literally working on this thing constantly. I would recommend looking at the careers page in advance, looking at LinkedIn, talking to members from your ship chapters who have already secured and landed internships in the past, or full-time jobs, or co-ops, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. Andrea has some pretty good comments in the chat as well. If you're connecting to a professional after a workshop, try to ask insightful questions in the Q&A by standing up, introducing yourself, then ask and then talk to them post-workshop. You will know who is speaking based on the workshop details, so look them up on LinkedIn and look up your interviewers too, if possible, because I know sometimes you might not be able to.
And I'm going to add on to that really quick. I'm going to go back to screen sharing. If you guys want to know who's speaking during a workshop, you can come to the convention event page, and by the time we are closer to convention, most of the speakers will be listed up here, and you'll be able to use LinkedIn or use other tools to learn more about them and learn about the company.
And this will also be on the app.
Correct.
I think, if anything, the app will be the one that has the most up-to-date information as we get closer to convention. So if you're relying solely on the webpage after October 9th, you do run the risk of getting information that's not really up to date. So just keep that in mind.
Any more questions? Is anyone brave enough to come off mute? Put your hand up. Best way to approach someone at a hospitality suite or a workshop without seeming desperate for an interview. We got a similar question this weekend at a sub-retreat, and it was the question was like, what's the biggest mistake you could make? And it kind of ties to this of not preparing. So if you know what the companies are looking for, you know who they hire, you know what the requirements are, and you show up with that information, you will stand out from a lot of your peers, and it'll make you not seem desperate because you already know if they're looking for your major. You already know if you qualify for the job. You've already applied online. If you've been doing this right, you've been prepping for a while, and maybe you have a project, or maybe you've done certifications that they're interested in. So it makes you highlight more for what they're looking for, if that makes sense. Cindy, I don't know if you have anything to add for hospitality suite workshop.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, you're just talking to people, and keep it simple. People want to work with people that they like.
I think, I guess something to note also, the hospitality suites are not always the same. So I know, Will, you did mention that sometimes companies will take resumes and sometimes companies won't. So just kind of also look to see what other people are doing. Are they handing the representatives their resumes, or if they're just talking? It is generally a lot more informal than the career fair. So it's not like, hi, you pitch, here's my resume, and then question, like, please give me a job. It's more so like, oh, I was really interesting. I saw in the news that, you guys are having this hardship, or you guys are having this new technology. Can you tell me a little bit more about, what are some of the opportunities that someone in a fresh out role could be working with that new technology? I don't know, something like that, to where like you couldn't really go too into detail in a career fair setting, because a career fair is meant to be kind of really quick, like no more than 5-10 minutes on one candidate. And that's me speaking from like a recruiter point of view, right? We're not supposed to spend any more than like 5-10 minutes per person, and even 10 minutes can be a lot. So in the hospitality suite setting, then you have a little bit more time. Recruiters might, or the representatives might actually talk to you guys in a group. I've seen some companies do that, and that's where you can actually ask more detailed questions, where you can kind of hear more of like the day-to-day, what are some of the projects that the company is working on, etc.
Yep. So something, and I know we haven't really given an example, so I'm going to give an example from a few years ago when I was still a student, which is like an eternity ago. I remember going into an Accenture. Okay. I remember going into an Accenture hospitality suites, and they had the lights going down. They had a DJ in the corner. They were playing music. They had couches. It was a completely different atmosphere from everybody else's. hospitality suites, and they had a rule of no resumes. And their whole idea, I had talked to one of the guys who organized it, and he had said, "Yeah, we're Accenture, we're in consultants, and you need to be ready to adapt to different environments. So no resumes, come talk to us. We want to get to know you as a person, and based off of that, we want to see how you handle the environmental shift, if you will. So be ready. Different companies will have different things, and it might reflect the company culture. It might not. I remember when I was a student, if I was going into a banking hospitality suite, I saw them wearing suit and tie, so I wanted to bring my tie out and make sure it was looking good. And then if I went to go talk to someone in tech, they're usually a little more relaxed, so I'd take the tie off and yeah. So that was my strategy behind it. You guys will have to make your own strategies that make you feel comfortable and show off your skills, if you will. Any other questions? Anyone wants to raise their hand?
Left. We have more than enough time to answer questions.
Well, since Andrea put this out there, of getting out of your shell. So if this is your first conference, and I'm going to speak from my experience, when I was a freshman, sophomore, I used to get like the butterflies and get nervous. And sometimes that would keep me from asking a question during a workshop or going to the career fair and talking to companies. I'm going to tell you, please try to push through that and go talk to the company. Even if it's terrible, even if it sounds bad, even if you're nervous, that practice is what's going to make it easier and easier and easier as you go through your ship career and your college career, and even when you become a professional. So practice, practice, practice. Even if it's your first time, even if you've never spoken to a professional, even if you have no idea what to say, go in. Worst case, you could always ask for feedback on the elevator pitch, on your resume, on your attire. You can ask for the stuff there. A lot of the folks you're going to talk to have gone through SHIP before. They are returning SHIP alumni that are now recruiting for their companies or volunteering for their companies.
Sorry, I was just checking the volunteering portal. Andrea's right. It is completely full.
Thank you to all of our SHIP volunteers.
Yeah.
Please try again next year. Questions, everyone? What do we got? All right, no one's got questions. I'm going to take a list of the names here then, and I expect everybody to have 4 interviews by the end of Wednesday. All right, thank you, Jocelyn.
Hi, can you hear me well?
Yes, we can.
So my question was, I did sign up because some companies have pre-registrations to speak to them at the career fair, but this is my first time going, so do you all know how exactly that works or any tips? Because we did pre-register to speak to them. I think it's kind of like a skip the line type of thing because they provided a QR code to pull up at the career fair.
That is a great question. Andrea, did you do this last year? I think I saw you share a list of companies that were doing pre-registration previously. Maybe not.
I think that may have been Miriam.
Okay. I have not used this before, Jocelyn. What I would say is that if it's for the career fair, on the first day of conference, either ask a SHIP national employee when you go to registration, and if the first person you ask doesn't know, that's okay. Ask them who you can go ask, and they'll be able to provide you information. Worst case, ask the company before the career fair. It's going to be there. But if you get the opportunity to talk to the company, I'd probably not even worry about the QR code, and I would talk to them as if you were at the career fair before you even see them at the career fair. For example, if they're at their workshop, or if they're hosting a lunch, or if you run into them at Starbucks or something.
Okay, thank you both so much.
I know that's not the answer you wanted, but that's what we got today.
No, it helps. It helps truly. Thank you.
Sean, you asked how long should an elevator pitch be? I always use the example of anytime someone comes to sell you something and they talk for like 5 minutes and don't let you talk, how fun is that? That sounds terrible. So I like more of an elevator conversation where, yes, you introduce yourself, you highlight what you're looking for, that you've already applied, and then give them the opportunity to talk, and you start this conversation going back and forth. As you practice this and as you do this more and more, it'll get more natural. So you'll hear 30 seconds, a minute. If you're speaking for a minute, that's already too long. Like, that's just my opinion. And there's very rare where someone's talking for a whole minute and I paid attention to everything. Like, you've already lost me after 15 seconds.
I mean, keep in mind, as a recruiter, we're going to see thousands of people and we're going to have to listen to thousands of pitches, right? So just keep that in mind.
Where do you get this pre-registration? I think that's a question for Jocelyn.
She
Sebastian is
answered
asking.
I can
directly on
talk
the
about
website.
it a bit, if
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
So, I was looking at it because one of my chapter's members mentioned that some companies were doing that. So what I did was I literally just put the company name and put ship right after and clicked search on Google or ship convention. And some of them have old registration links from like last year, year before, but some are already updating. They have some companies have like events that they'll be at, especially because right now is career fair. And what they do is they have a link where you can pre-register. It asks for your first and last name, and then I put my student email because it gives you the notification on your Outlook calendar, and it can align with the ship events. So I already have like 3 ready to go, and they send you a QR code. And I've already connected with one of the HR people that sent us the QR codes. So that's also a really good way to network before the conference.
Great advice. Stuff I don't even know about, and I don't think Cindy knows about. So thank you, Jocelyn.
Mhm.
5 more minutes.
Luis mentioned if there are different strategies to talking to recruiters early in the career fair versus later in the career fair. Because he says he imagines it's harder to stand out after hours of interviewing different students. I personally don't really change how I talk to recruiters. I mean, the only difference might be like, wow, so how has your day been going so far? I know you've talked to a lot of people, in like the opening chatter, but I don't really change the meat of what I say. Like, what opportunities am I looking for, what I'm interested in at their company, what roles, etc. So that's pretty much the same for me. I don't know, Will or anybody else, like if you guys change your strategies depending on the day, like the time of day.
I wouldn't say that I changed my strategy as much as I keep aware that the more time that passes, the more interviews that have been completed, or the less that are left because just the conference is going to end on Saturday. So I keep that in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is that, and I'll use Microsoft as an example because I'm an employee, so hopefully I don't get in trouble. We get a lot of attention as Microsoft, and I might advise you to actually go talk to another company because you might have to wait an hour to 2 hours, 3 hours to talk to us. And there might be other companies who also have amazing opportunities for you guys and might have a shorter line because everyone's trying to get to these big brand named organizations. So back in the day, I would always I would try to be towards the front of the line, go and talk to one of these big companies that I wanted to talk to. And then I would have my list of other companies of like, hey, they have really good opportunities for industrial engineers. I'm going to go talk to them. And I did some research on them. I know exactly who they are. And there's something that's interesting to me. So for me, that's what I would do. And I always just kept in mind of as Saturday gets closer and closer, these interviews are just running out. So that's why I emphasize so much on Wednesday, workshops, go there, hospitality suites before the career fair. If you're waiting to the career fair, 50% of interviews have already been completed because time has just passed. And I was typing this up, but if you haven't practiced behavior-based interviews, please look up the STAR method. If you could land the interview, but you can't pass the interview, it's not going to help you land your dream internship, full-time job, co-op, et cetera, et cetera. So please study the STAR method. If you don't know what it is, plug it into Bing and you'll find a link that shows you what the STAR method is. There's tons of information on Glassdoor, good idea, and tons of information on YouTube.
Andrea did mention a really good note. It's very normal not to get an interview during convention. It can happen. And you might be able to get opportunities post convention, like saying, "Hey, we want to interview you, but it'll be next week on Zoom." That is very common. And also, somebody asked, "How can I stand out between the thousands of applicants or other students trying to get these opportunities?" I personally usually throw in a fun fact about myself that's not related to school or work, just because the culture aspect is very important to employers as well. So I usually throw in something about anime or manga, and that has really been very positive for me and landing me some good connections for a future move. So yeah, just throwing that out there.
Totally agree. And to that point of you can schedule interviews post convention. You might land a virtual interview on Saturday. So don't give up just because there's only 2 hours left at the career fair on Saturday. I would still go and talk. Like if you come up to me or Cindy or any RVP on Saturday and be like, I'm done, I'd be like, no, you're not. There is still X amount of time left in the career fair. If you don't have a job signed, you are not done. Go back and try again. And at the end of this on Saturday, you will be exhausted and need a mental break. But keep pushing. It's only once a year that we do the ship convention, and it's so many opportunities for you guys and gals.
Yeah.
All right, so I know we're about to be at time. We have time for one more question. Then I'll give one more tip and then let you guys go. Last and final tip that this is going to be of conflict for some students and professionals. Don't be the guy or girl who is carrying around all the swag and you have a Santa Claus sack of swag around you if you're trying to land an interview or an internship or a full-time or co-op. And what I mean, if you haven't gone before, there's going to be companies handing all sorts of goodies out. If it's amazing and you have to have it, sure, but figure out somewhere to hide it, put it, because I've seen it where I've been the recruiter and a student comes up to me and they literally have a sack like Santa Claus and they got to put that down, and then their resume is somewhere tucked away and they got to open their backpack or something to go get the portfolio out to then pull out the resume, and they're keeping the line up because they're doing this, and it is just not a good professional look. Like someone this weekend described it as being smooth. I want you to be smooth and be ready to go at any point. Me, I portfolio always while I'm at the conference. I could be at a lunch, I could be walking in Starbucks, portfolio is ready. I got my 50 resumes ready to go. I got pens in there ready to go. And we're talking, we're ready to talk. I got backup battery charger for my phone just in case. Another thing, last thing I'll mention is between now and December, pick up every phone call that you get, even if it's a random number. You never know who's going to be calling. And I know there's some folks who won't pick up if it's a random number. They might leave a voicemail. You never want to see me be the recruiter calling, because if people don't pick up, I'm not leaving a voicemail. I'm going to the next candidate that I wanted, and I'm skipping people. So my advice will always be pick up through December.
I would say even more than that, longer than that. I know my company extended to like March, April.
There you go.
But that is time. So I will say if you got the invite for today, I'll go ahead and send the invite for Wednesday. Remember, Wednesday, same time, same I'd say same place, but it's a different team's invite. So I'll go ahead and send that out and you'll have that ready to go for Wednesday.
I'm gonna highlight what Anna. Yes, completely agree. Thank you, Cindy. Highlight really quick what Anna said, because I think it's very important, and I feel like folks mess this up every year. If you decide to go out on Friday or Thursday, which don't come talk to me about going out on Friday or Thursday because you're there looking for your internship, full-time networking, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want to hear that you're going out Friday or Thursday. If you're going out, please remember that they will, like the recruiters and the professionals will remember anything that happens in the evening, and it could block you from landing that interview, or maybe it'll help you, but be aware of that. Okay. Capiche. All right. Guess we're going to turn off the recording.
Yep.
If it's not off. And thank you, everyone. We'll see you on Wednesday.